Building a dream bedroom and desk setup can be a bit of a head scratcher, especially when you're tight on space. And whether you're a student or someone who's looking to organize their room and workspace, creating a cozy and inviting space isn't always as easy as it sounds. But in this video, I take you through a simple step-by-step process of how you can transform a small room from being cluttered and disorganized to your dream bedroom and desk setup. Before we get our hands dirty, let's start from the very beginning. Ever since I moved into this house, this room always acted as a storeroom for pretty much everything in my house, so it never really got the tender loving care it deserved. But after being on the rear view mirror for so long, it was time to take it from this to this. Over the course of the past few months, I scoured the internet for the items I'd need, and without limiting myself to one online marketplace, I bought items from Facebook Marketplace, Amazon, Temu, eBay, IKEA, and also reached out to Desky, who kitted me out with an entire desk setup. More on that when we get to the desk setup build. With everything I need in place, it was now time to get my hands dirty, and the first order of business was clearing everything out of the room. It took me about 30 minutes, and from there the walls needed a new lick of paint since I didn't quite like the olive color they had, and after doing some prep work, the brushes and rollers came out full swing. I first cut in the edges with a small paintbrush, then used a roller to paint the huge areas of the wall. Look, while I'm no pro at this, the few passes I did on my living room and home office walls gave me enough skills to do a decent job, and after 2 coats and a few hours later, the canvas was ready for me to add some personality to the space, and first up was this IKEA bed frame I got from Facebook Market. I wanted to start with the bed as it would take majority of the space, and once it was set up, taking out the room with the rest of the items would be easier. Now, given that IKEA furniture usually comes with a setup manual, setting up this was a bit of a head scratcher since I got it without a manual. Nonetheless, I couldn't really complain as I got it for only 100 Australian dollars, and a few drill rotations later, it was ready to hold a mattress I had laying around for about a year and a half. From there, a quick trip to Target, and I got some beddings to go with the theme of the setup. With the bed out of the way, it was now time for the part you guys were looking forward to the most, and that's the desk. First up was the chair, and for this setup I chose to go with the Eames office chair, and boy, even without a desk it looks so premium and comfy. If you've been a follower of the channel for a while, you most likely have seen a somewhat similar design chair in my main office, the only difference being this one is a lot chunkier and comes with sharper fabric. When it comes to the build quality, it's constructed with top-notch soft sharper fabric and a robust alloy steel structure that can hold the heaviest of bodies. I mean, at 107 kilograms, I don't fall on the lighter side of the scale, but it handles me with no issues. As for durability, just like the one I have in my main setup, it screams longevity and sustained comfort, and when you factor its 1-year warranty, you'll have peace of mind in case anything untoward happens. After I was done with the chair, it was now time to set up the desk, and my good friends at Desky did me a solid by sending me a whole lot of desk accessories, and starting with the Desky dual sit stand desk, I chose to go with an oak countertop and white legs since the setup was predominantly going to be white and oak. Setting up was pretty easy, having gone through a similar process on my main setup, and after laying down the oak desktop, I put the individual parts on it, aligned the legs with the screw holes, then started the assembly. Starting with one leg, it took me a couple of minutes, after which I repeated the same process for the other side before finishing off with the rest of the other parts. With the build process out of the way, it was now time to dust up and marvel at the new desk, and boy was I impressed. I mean, just look at that. The look of the hardwood oak just gets me ticking, and for a few good reasons. Starting with the uniqueness this particular piece has, from the beauty of the grain and its one-of-a-kind imperfections, to the contrasting brown and black streaks of the oak that are brought to life by the luxurious high polish finish. Moving further down, the desktop rests on the dual sit stand frame made from steel and is ergonomically designed to provide a height range for most users by using Desky's new control module, which they also sent for my main setup. Unlike the usual controllers you see everywhere, this newly optimized controller is packed with lots of amazing features, and whether you want to control it manually on the module, through the app on your phone, or Siri just like this. Hey Siri, Desky down. You'll be spoiled for choice, and it doesn't stop there. The LED lights on the control module add some ambient light and personality to your setup, and most important of all, it works like a charm controlling the robust motorized legs whenever you decide to work while standing. Talking of standing, the opposite would be sitting, and the press interface allows you to lower the desk height by holding the down button or setting up 4 programmable settings to automatically get to the sitting and standing heights. Speaking of which, the different heights are achieved by the help of motors which are concealed seamlessly within each leg to distribute power evenly when lifting whilst keeping the working components protected. To give you guys some perspective on how strong they are, I'm no small bloke. Weighing in a few kilograms shy of the 110 mark, these motors lift me like a piece of paper without even heaving. With the skeleton of the desk pretty much set up, it was time to set up the cable management system, and Desky once again came in clutch. Setting up was absolute child's play, and when it comes to functionality, I like how it would give the cables a place to hide, all the while allowing easy access in case I want to add or remove any accessories. With the option to add up to 10 power points, you can power the most complex setup, and for those with less power requirements, you can opt for a single power board with 4 power points. For this setup, I went with 10 power points thanks to the included power boards, and setting them up was another easy job. As for the color options, you've got a few choices to pick from, whether it's white, matte black or grey. You've got something to match up the theme of your desk. Having just finished adding some power points and setting up the cable management system, it was befitting to start adding the electronic accessories, and I wanted to start with the monitor, and for this desk I went with the LG 34WQ650. Inside the box you get a screen, a stand which attaches to the quick release plate, then a stand base which you can fasten using your hands. You also get a power cord which comes with a brick, a HDMI cable and a cable clip to help with cable management from the monitor. In terms of the ports it offers, you'll be getting a display port, a HDMI and USB-C port which provide you the connectivity you need depending on your preference, then a headphone port and a DC in for power. As for use case, it's ideal for students when doing your assignments since it allows you to have multiple windows open. For instance, you can have one tab for your research and the other for your assignment page. For the other professions like accountants, this would be also ideal when doing your Excel sheets. For an in-depth look at it, stay tuned for the dedicated desk setup video. Moving along, the monitor by itself without a monitor arm looks alright, but since I like the extra space a monitor arm provides, I went with the Desky heavy duty monitor arm and it fits this ultra wide perfectly. In terms of functionality, its optimized tilting mechanism allows for smoother adjustments, providing you the perfect viewing angle for work, entertainment or gaming. With the monitor up and running, it was time to add the brains of the setup, and the Geeko Mini IT13, which was part of my main setup, was the perfect fit. It comes with an Intel Core i9 processor with 14 cores and 20 threads, which can boost up to 5.4 GHz. Then in the RAM department, it packs 32 gigs of RAM, which works in tandem with a 2 TB of storage, and with Wi-Fi 6E coupled with Bluetooth 5.2, that is more than enough for this setup. When it comes to the I/O, the tiny form factor doesn't limit it, and despite being smaller than the M1 Mac Mini, at the front you've got 2 USB-A 3.2 ports along with the headphone jack and the power button. At the back there are 2 USB-C 4.0 ports which can support up to 8K monitors thanks to the 40 gigs of bandwidth they are able to transfer. Underneath the 2 USB-C ports, you get another 2 HDMI 2.0 ports, which technically gives you the ability to run up to 4 monitors with just this machine. All the amazing specs aside, a monitor riser was the perfect accessory to tuck it away, and I went with this one from Desky, which is another beautiful piece. Made from hardwood oak, it not only adds a bit of extra storage but also the much needed visual structure for the setup. From there, the peripherals started coming in, and first up was this desk mat, then this budget keyboard and mouse, all of which I got from Amazon. The keyboard and mouse may not have the craziest features, but for a student and the average consumer, they tick all the boxes, and to add even more visual structure, the desk mat completes the look. Next up was the speakers, and that's because these LG's inbuilt speakers are subpar at best. The speakers I chose are the Edifier speakers, which are budget friendly, have good sound quality and perfect for someone building their first desk setup. To ensure they sit at the perfect height, I placed them on these speaker stands I got from Amazon. As for the screen bar, I went with Xiaomi, and it does everything the BenQ screen bar Hello does for almost quarter the price. From there, it was time to add some storage to the desk, and this filing cabinet from Desky was all I needed for this setup. Not only is it ideal for this setup, but also the perfect statement piece thanks to its timeless design and quality craftsmanship, which make it more than just a functional accessory. It offers ample room for organizing documents, stationery, and other essentials, which helps you declutter your desk and create a conducive environment for productivity. With the desk setup all laid out, it provided a good outline to add overhead storage and some personality to the setup. Using a laser level, I marked where I wanted the shelves to be mounted, then tapped out a rough layout of the pieces I was going to add. Since it was late, I downed my tools and continued the following morning, where I installed these IKEA-like shelves one after the other and slightly staggered them to add visual interest. I then added 2 canvas picture frames with abstract paintings, and in case you're wondering where I got them, I bought the frames from Target and the canvas paintings from Temu. Stepping back, the wall looked okay, but I felt I could add one more thing in the space between the IKEA shelves and the painting on the left. After much thought, the famous IKEA pegboard was what I landed on, and I decked it out with different pegboard beans. From there, it was time to add some decor pieces and plants. I started off by adding this mushroom lamp, which acts as a decor piece and ambient light to the setup, then went ahead to add some plants to bring the space to life, and first up were the famous cascading IKEA plants. Then I placed a few more plants on the shelves and desk before putting this huge rubber plant to the left of the desk and this peace lily on the filing cabinet. On the little space between the window and the main wall, I mounted 2 more plants in coconut fiber baskets, and once again I staggered them to create more visual interest. Now, the plants on their own would have sealed the deal, but I wanted to take the aesthetics a notch higher, so I added this vintage orange typewriter and a few more decor pieces around, and the makeover was pretty much done except for one thing: lighting. Like all the desk setups on YouTube, LED strips were the first to be added to the desk, and I went with the Govee RGB light strips because of their reliability and affordable price. I then mounted a rechargeable pack light on top of one of the picture frames, after which I changed this ceiling light, which had a very ugly lampshade. In its place came in this retro Macron orange chandelier kit, and together with the mushroom lamp, the picture frames and the vintage typewriter, they make the setup a spectacle for the senses thanks to the pops of orange, and this begged for a slow montage. After a little over 5 days of putting an insane number of hours from the crack of dawn to the dead of the night and many splinters later, I can say I've achieved a fusion of form, function and aesthetics in this bedroom and desk setup makeover, which would be perfect for a student or even someone who's a little bit tight on space. For an in-depth look at the desk setup, the video will be dropping next week, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. Well, that sums up this bedroom and desk setup makeover, and in this video I mainly took you through the transformation bit. Next week I'll be taking you through a deep dive into the desk setup, having used it for a week. Until then, I must say I'm happy with what I've achieved in this makeover, having gotten out of my comfort zone by going for a lighter color palette, which is miles away from the dark, moody aesthetic I always go for. As always, I hope this video inspires and gives you some ideas on how to create your ideal space, and if you find it helpful and enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, share and click the notification bell to get notified whenever I post a new video. To see another epic makeover, check out this video. Until then, people of the internet, I'm signing out. See you on the next one.